gieo mầm yêu thương, hạnh phúc đồng hành cùng con trẻ. Gieo mầm yêu thương.
Well, hello everybody. You are listening to the bilingual fairy tale series, a product from Cultural House of Youth in Ho Chi Minh City. Hello children, it is so nice to meet all of you again. To begin our story today, there is a traditional riddle that I want to share with you. Now let's try to guess what the riddle is about. In the house stays a sweeping lady. Can you guess what object that is? That's right, it is a broom. The riddle not only describes the action of sweeping with a broom, but it also relates to the tail of the broom. Does it trigger your curiosity? That's also the interesting story that we will be listening to today. Well, what are you waiting for? Let's get right into the story. Once upon a time, in the palace of the gods, worked a very skillful cook lady. The cook had a talent of making such delicious desserts and sweets, so yummy that only one bite could make you addicted to her food. The Jade Emperor granted her an important position to take care of all the meals in the god's palace. However, the cook had one bad habit, that she often stole food. The rule of the gods was very clear about servants using different meals from the god. They must not touch the royal food, even if it is left over from the Jade Emperor's dinner. They shall not be touched. Yet, the rules could not frighten the greedy cook lady. She thought to herself, "There are tons of delicious food in the palace. How on earth can the gods know if I steal a small piece of the cake or a chunk of sticky rice?" With that thought, she found all kinds of ways to steal from the gods. Unfortunately, she was not the only one who was stealing. Her lover was a horse keeper, who also worked for the gods. His job was no less miserable than a regular horse keeper on earth. The horse keeper really enjoyed wine. Coincidentally, the gods had a special type of wine that has an incredible and flavorful taste. Once you have tried that wine, no other ordinary wine can taste good again. Ever since the cook lady offered the horse keeper a small sip, he got more and more addicted to this wine. What's more, since the day they met, the horse keeper grew a taste for high-quality food. So, whenever the cook lady saw her lover craving for the god's meal, she did not hesitate to bring him stolen food and drinks from the kitchen. Especially on joyful days, she even sneaked the horse keeper into the wine cellar and let him drink until his heart contented. One day, the Jade Emperor invited all his gods for a party. The cook lady and her helper worked very hard for this event. They started cooking from early morning until late evening. When the night came, all the dishes needed to be finished and laid on the royal trays, ready to be served. When the full moon shone the brightest, it was when the Jade Emperor and his gods began the party. In the middle of preparing dishes, the cook lady suddenly heard the singing voice of the horse keeper from afar. At that very moment, he had just finished bathing the horse and was on his way returning home. The meal of the horse caretaker only consisted of one bowl of cold rice and a bottle of cheap wine. As he held the rice bowl, he suddenly remembered about the party at the palace, along with delicious royal food. The housekeeper gathered all his courage and sneaked into the party. He whispered to the cook lady through the window, "Hey, honey, I am craving for some wine. Do you have any spare bottles I can have?" The cook lady hurriedly sneaked him into the kitchen and hid him behind the cupboard. She gave him the bottle of the most delicious wine in the palace and rushed back to finish making the desserts. In the dark, the housekeeper drank the wine with so much joy. It was such a good and strong wine that it clouded his mind. He suddenly craved for some more snacks to go with the wine. The trays of food were nearby, spreading a wonderful smell from the most high-quality dishes. The housekeeper had no idea that those trays were about to be served in a royal dinner. He only cared about his crumbling stomach. The alcohol gave him courage, so he lifted the lids and grabbed a handful of food. Oh dear, stealing others' food is already a naughty thing to do, nonetheless from the Jade Emperor's special party. The housekeeper had violated a serious rule from the gods, with the cook lady accidentally helped creating the crime. The Jade Emperor was well known for being strict and harsh. How would he react to such crime? Well, let's continue the story to know what was waiting for the cook lady and her lover. Only minutes after that, the servers came into the kitchen and accidentally carried the housekeeper's half-eaten food tray to the royal dining table. The party guests were so surprised to see every dish had a bite in it. The sticky rice plate was missing a portion. The chicken lost a big chunk of meat, and the fruit bowl was scattered as if someone had grabbed a handful out of it. As soon as the Jade Emperor saw the scene, he was extremely upset. The Emperor shouted like thunder, "Who dares eat from my food?" The Jade Emperor vowed to find the one behind such crime. His soldiers came and searched the kitchen. As soon as they peeked into the dark corners, there lay the housekeeper, as drunk as a skunk. He was still holding the stolen wine bottle, joyfully hummed to himself. The soldier dragged the drunken man to the Jade Emperor. The Emperor was red from head to chin. He yelled, "How bold of you, a housekeeper, to violate the god's rule! Did you not know how strict this rule is? I will behead you as a warning for anyone who even dares to think of doing the same thing." Well, at that very moment, the cook lady was standing in the corner with other servants, trembling in fear when she saw that Emperor was about to execute her lover. She sprinted out and knelt in front of him. She bowed to the ground in great terror and cried her eye out. "Your Majesty, it was I who sneaked the horse caretaker to the kitchen from the back door and offered him some wine. It was all my fault. Please have mercy on our lives." The Jade Emperor was still upset, but he respected the loyal cook lady, who had worked in the palace for many years. Therefore, he decided not to execute them both, but instead expelled them from the palace. They were banished to the earth, but not in human form. They were turned into brooms. Both of them worked day and night, finding scraps of food in the dirty, trashy corners on the earth. It was the cruelest punishment ever seen from the gods. Since they were punished and turned into brooms, both of them worked hard without any day off. After some time, they cried about their hardship, showed their remorse, and begged the Jade Emperor for mercy. The Emperor felt pity for them, so he allowed them 3 days off every year. Those 3 days were the Lunar New Year. Since then, in every Lunar New Year, according to the tradition, families will not sweep their house on the first 3 days. Part of the reason is not to sweep the lucky charms away from the house. Another part is to allow the poor couple to rest from being punished. Well, the cook lady sure is pitiful, don't you think so? Stealing food may seem like no big deal, but it's actually the bad habit that makes you look less appealing in others' eyes. Remember, children, don't do what the cook lady had done in the story. Well, it's finally the end of our today's adventure in the fairy tale world. I really hope that we will meet again soon on the next adventure. Goodbye and stay safe.
Gieo mầm yêu thương hạnh phúc